All right, let's get into it, because today we are tackling something absolutely massive. We're talking about a huge, super detailed, and incredibly controversial plot leak that claims to spoil the entire story for the next Avengers movie, from beginning to end. So the big question hanging over everything is, could this actually be real? I mean, has a whole blockbuster movie, one that's supposed to be years in the making, just been laid out for everyone to see online before we've even gotten a single trailer? That's what we're going to break down. Okay, here's how we're going to do this. First, we'll look at the leak itself and its pretty bold claims of being the real deal. Then, we're going to walk through the supposed story, from its wild opening to Doctor Doom's master plan. And finally, we'll get into the ending and all the major criticisms this thing has stirred up. So, first up, where did this all come from? Because we're not just talking about a simple rumor here. This is a full-blown story, from start to finish, and it has the entire fan community fired up and divided. So what's out there is a complete plot summary for Avengers Doomsday, and it claims to have everything: every story beat, major character deaths, plot twists, and a finale that would completely reshape the entire Marvel universe. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The source of this leak isn't just posting it as a cool fan theory. No, they're coming out swinging, claiming they've verified it with multiple inside sources and that this is, and I quote, the real deal. And yet, in almost the same breath, the source frames this whole thing with the classic internet disclaimer. Trust me, bro, you gotta love it. It immediately tells you how to take all this information with a very, very healthy dose of skepticism. It's this perfect mix of total confidence and, internet-level doubt. Okay, so let's get into the actual story they're telling. Because, man, if this leak is true, the movie starts with one of the most shocking and controversial openings in MCU history. For real. So the film allegedly kicks off in the universe of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But listen, this is no happy reunion. Wolverine and Deadpool apparently show up, sent by the X-Men with a device designed to completely erase this reality to stop something called an incursion, which is basically when two universes collide and destroy each other. So yeah, let's be super clear. This is not a team-up. The first thing we see is Wolverine killing this beloved version of Spider-Man. He then stays behind to make sure the world gets destroyed, and he dies in the process. I mean, within the first few minutes, two iconic fan-favorite heroes are just gone. It is an incredibly bleak way to start a movie. From that gut punch, the story supposedly pivots over to Steve Rogers. So after he returned the Infinity Stones in Endgame, he built a whole life with Peggy, and they even have a son named Jim. But before the TVA can come and prune his timeline, a variant of Loki shows up. He warns Steve and helps him move his family to a whole other universe, Earth 828, which, wouldn't you know it, is the home of the Fantastic Four. And it's on this new Earth that we meet our main villain, and the central conflict really takes shape. This is where Dr. Doom enters the picture, and at first, he actually seems like he's trying to save the day. Doom rolls out this really convincing plan. He explains the whole incursion crisis to Reed Richards and all the other heroes. And his solution: get the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four to team up and build these massive cannons on the last few remaining Earths. He claims these cannons will create a barrier to literally push the universes apart and save everyone from total annihilation. But here it is, the huge twist. The cannons were never meant to save anyone. Doom's real plan is some next-level cosmic evil. He wants to distract all the heroes while he lets the final incursion happen. Then, right before everything is gone forever, he confronts Loki, rips out his heart, steals his godlike powers, and uses all that energy to rebuild a brand new universe from the ashes, a universe where he is the one and only ruler. And this is what really explains his motivation. It turns out that Steve Rogers showing up on Earth 828 is the very thing that triggered its incursion. In a desperate attempt to stop it, Doom ran these dangerous experiments that went horribly wrong, killing his own wife and child and leaving him scarred. So his entire plan for multiversal genocide is really just a twisted, cosmic-level revenge plot against the one man he blames for it all, Captain America. So all of this builds to a final, devastating climax and an ending that has drawn so much criticism from fans. It questions the entire direction of the franchise by taking a page from one of the most famous comic book events ever. The movie supposedly ends with Doom actually succeeding, and what he creates is straight out of the Secret War storyline from the comics. He creates Battleworld,
It's this patchwork reality cobbled together from the scraps of the multiverse, and he rules it not as a king, but as a god emperor. He even resurrects all the dead heroes, but he wipes their memories clean, so they're all living these new, fake lives with no idea what they or the universe lost.
As you can imagine, the reaction to all this has been pretty intense. The critics of this leak point to some huge problems. First, they say Doom's motivation, getting revenge for a family he lost in an accident he caused, feels really paper thin for a plan this huge. People also feel like it totally betrays Steve Rogers' arc, turning his perfect happy ending into the trigger for universal destruction. And then there's the question of who's missing. A lot of the new heroes, like Sam Wilson's Captain America or Shang-Chi, are just not in it. And even big guns like Doctor Strange and the Hulk are apparently nowhere to be seen. But the biggest complaint is that it all just feels like a messy, downer of a soft reboot where, at the end of the day, the heroes just lose. So what's the takeaway here? If this leak is actually true, are we looking at a bold and maybe even necessary reset for a franchise that's gotten so huge? A way to clear the board and adapt one of the biggest comic storylines ever? Or is it a sign of a creative dead end? An admission that the only way to move forward is to just burn the whole thing down? That's the real question this whole wild story leaves us with.